So in as much as, it was through an email that I saw, a question, who is this person who's not with a big network? Yes. Did it get to me for all of maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes? But that sentiment of, oh, how was immediately refilled or immediately filled with, no, hang on a second.
You're celebrated for your eloquence, your confidence, and your commanding presence. Can you share a moment when your confidence was truly tested, and how did you handle that moment?
Wow, I wasn't expecting that question. I was so sure. I think maybe the first time I hosted a high-level event with maybe about 3 or 4 heads of state, I was kind of prepared, but nothing prepared me for, the environment. It was really tense. At that moment, even though I'm usually quite prepared, I felt like I'm a little tiny incy-bincy individual amongst all of these great people, and my confidence to step up to the microphone was tested quite a bit. I have to say there was that moment when the doors opened and, the army of heads of state were walking in where I wondered, am I ready for this?
In that moment, when you're walking into these rooms of power and you're very self-aware, you're maybe a little bit doubting yourself, what would you say is your confidence ritual?
Now that I know what I know, preparation, literally feeds my confidence. But maybe honestly, Kofi, preparation is 30% of that food for my soul. But majority of it comes from God. I mean, now that I realize who I am and what I have, I realize that once I'm in that room, I was destined to be in that room, then suddenly confidence just overtakes any kind of sentiment that I have.
I think I remember one time I saw one of your interviews where you said you were being, challenged about this event. And I think one of the organizers or someone of that sort said, I don't think she's that fit. But then you went in there and you killed it. For you, what did that experience teach you? 1, about yourself, and 2, about how to navigate these spaces of power?
It taught me that at every single level in our lives, there's another level to go to. So in as much as, it was through an email that I saw, a question, who is this person who's not with a big network? Yes. Did it get to me for all of maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes? But that sentiment of, oh, how was immediately refilled or immediately filled with, no, hang on a second. Maybe this is an opportunity to actually prove myself. Kofi, I can tell you that just because of what I knew that the perception was of who I was, I over-prepared. And I also psyched myself to say, you see, this is life. You're questioned absolutely all the time. And at every given point in time, you have to justify your presence, justify your inclusion. It is life. So if you think that, well, I'm too good for my own 2 shoes, no, it's the worst and the wrongest, if I may use that word, attitude towards a life where you always want to show up and show off.
Coming from one of the powerful voices in media.
Don't be complacent, ever. There's always somebody to prove something to. And it's true. I mean, somebody may argue and say, well, I've achieved a lot in my life, so I don't have to prove anything, which I do agree. But you do have to prove something to yourself. You do have to prove that at any given point in time, you are ready. You are chosen. You are prepared. You are the one the world is waiting for. And that means never sitting back and saying, well, you know what? I conquered the last one, so the next one will be easy peasy. No. Preparation, prayer, and perseverance.
What advice would you give to young people on building a voice that is not only authentic, but also impactful and sustainable?
Beautiful question. Understand what you want your voice to stand for. I've chosen what I want my voice to stand for, and that's why it's firm. That's why it has a texture it has. That's why when I walk into a room for a certain kind of conversation, I'm ready. I can persevere. I'm prepared, because that conversation is not just one that is just going over my head or passing by like the wind, but it's one that changes my life. It's one that I truly believe in. It's one that I'm passionate about. So the voice of, your voice, the voice of change, the voice within you, the voice that is innate in your belly, is one that is ultimately connected to something that you feel strongly about, something that you're passionate about. And once you understand that, everything else falls into place. And remember, Don't try to be another Candid Kofi because Kofi is taken. Don't try to
I'm
be
taken, baby.
taken. Don't try to be another Boss Lady Anita because Boss Lady Anita is taken.
Taken.
You are so unique and so powerful just the way you are. Just discover what your heart beats for and your voice will empower it.
Need I say more? Thank you, Anita Erskine.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Anita Erskine. I like to call myself a global African storyteller because I love to change the world and how it sees the continent of Africa. And I've just shared my candid thoughts on confidence. Mwah.